This week, we put the pedal to the metal with a trio of racing games. Forza Horizon 3 takes the carnival motorsport action down under, Gran Turismo Sport marks the beginning of a new era at Polyphony Digital, and Assetto Corsa brings realistic, unforgiving racing to consoles. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week let's start things off with some PlayStation news. After the not quite official reveal of the PS4 Slim last week, it's now been joined by the not quite official reveal of a new DualShock 4 controller. This time around, it looks like there's been a slight modification to the controller's touchpad, a narrow, transparent bar that allows the light bar to shine through. Sure, it's just an aesthetic change, but for games that take advantage of the colour-changing light bar, it could make things just that little bit more immersive. And speaking of subtle tweaks to things, Sony has added two-step verification to PlayStation Network, meaning that your account will require a verification code as well as a password to gain access. The change is entirely optional, but particularly if you have your banking details saved on the network, it's a good idea to opt in. And while that's the sort of change that'll make people happy, Sony also revealed one that will make people less pleased. Prices for PlayStation Plus will be raised in September. This is the first time that US and Canadian membership prices have been increased since the service launched in 2010 and will see users spending an extra $10 or so per year. Details for other regions are yet to be revealed. But to wrap up all this PlayStation stuff, some more good news. PlayStation Now is headed to Windows PC, starting out in Europe, then heading to North America and rolling out in the rest of the world after that. Basically, it means you'll be able to play your favourite PlayStation exclusive games on your home computer for the first time, including entries in the Uncharted, God of War and Ratchet & Clank franchises, as well as beloved PS3 games like The Last of Us and Journey. There are more than 400 games available to subscribers, and the new app will also feature a new Discover mode to help you find the perfect game. But back to the bad news. It seems to be the time of year for companies to start shutting down game servers. This week sees announcements relating to 3 games: The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, Ghost Recon Phantoms, and the Russian-only project Halo Online. Ubisoft has confirmed that The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, which launched in February last year, will be closed on October 25. All in-game shops have now closed, and you have just 60 days to spend your remaining bling. Ghost Recon Phantoms has been online for 4 years now and, simply put, wasn't quite as successful as the developers had hoped, so the team is being reallocated to different projects. And Halo Online was originally planned as a Russian counter for China's Call of Duty Online, but it has now been confirmed the game will not be returning from an extended hiatus as Microsoft continues to spend its time and money on other things. If you do play any of those games, check their official websites for details on when things will be closed and how to redeem any in-game purchases. In quick news now, despite how it might have looked, you cannot get the original Destiny for free on Xbox One.
We thought we had sealed away the plague for eternity. But now, it has returned.
What you can get is access to the Destiny trial mode, which of course downloads the full game but only unlocks a small part. If you wish to continue, you'll have to pick up Destiny the Collection when it launches in late September. Master of Orion, on the other hand, is out right now on Steam, marking the return of one of the classics of the 4X strategy genre. If you've ever wanted to explore, expand, exploit and exterminate your way around the galaxy, now's your chance. Details about Resident Evil 7 have been revealed, not by Capcom, but instead the US Ratings Board, the ESRB, which has accidentally unveiled a few interesting tidbits about the game, due out next year.
I need to hide.
Avoiding major spoilers, we can tell you that the game is a first-person horror experience which features instances of gore and intense acts of violence. You play as Ethan, a man searching for his missing wife. Expect detailed cutscenes, some colourful language and an assortment of weaponry for you to use. Resident Evil 7 is due out in January. Out even sooner than that is Titanfall 2, which has just held its second online technical test. Respawn explains that the tests have been crucial for the game's development. The 2 weekends of online play have shown that the new server infrastructure, combined with the Strider backend service, can handle thousands and thousands of gamers jumping into games. According to the studio, the hardware is capable of making around 24,000 matches every 2 seconds, which allows them to handle way more players than they should need. Rest assured, Respawn has taken careful notes after both weekends, so when Titanfall 2 launches on October 28 for PC, PS4 and Xbox One, things should run nice and smooth. And finally this week, while No Man's Sky continues to dominate the bestseller lists, it seems that some people have simply stopped playing. At launch, more than 200,000 people were playing the game concurrently on Steam, but just 2 weeks later, that number had plummeted to just over 20,000. If social media is to be believed, a significant number of those people buying the game and pushing it up the charts aren't necessarily hanging on to it. Steam and PlayStation were apparently handing out refunds for copies of the game, even if it had been pre-purchased or played for an extended period of time. If you want a refund, you will need to argue about why you are unhappy with No Man's Sky, which might mean giving specifics on crashes or performance issues, or going into detail comparing the published game to the early trailers and presentations. Whichever platform you're on, you're advised to include references to how long you've been a customer, but don't get aggressive. After a busy weekend of dissing out refunds, there is no guarantee that you'll get your money back. The No Man's Sky Steam page has been updated to include a disclaimer that the standard Steam refund policy applies, which means your purchase is probably not eligible for a refund unless it was bought less than 48 hours ago or if you've played for less than 2 hours total. However, Steam acknowledges that exceptions can be made, so if you feel you have a case for a refund, ask away and see how you go. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
We are here at E3 sitting in these wonderfully comfy chairs, hanging out at PlayStation, and we're about to talk Gran Turismo Sport. What is this wonderful addition to the Gran Turismo franchise?
So Gran Turismo Sport is the first time Gran Turismo will appear on PlayStation 4. It's the new iteration in the franchise, and what Polyphony have focused on this time round is creating an experience that can enter the esports arena, which is becoming so popular these days, offering their own take on it with a global tournament structure which will be available for anyone to play. The line they like to use is 7 to 77-year-olds, so it's there for everyone, and they're putting a lot of focus on that, and hopefully giving the Gran Turismo fans something much bigger than they've had in previous games.
We'll roll with that element first. So it's a big focus on tournament racing in this one, and by the sound of it, anybody can play basically.
Yes, I mean the way the game has been designed, there will be weekly regional finals. There are basically two elements to the tournament mode. There's the Gran Turismo Nations Cup and the Gran Turismo Manufacturers Fan Cup. So the difference between the two is that when you partake in the Nations Cup, it's essentially like a World Cup format of motor racing, and the Manufacturers so you represent your country, obviously, and the Manufacturers Fan Cup is where you affiliate yourself to a favourite manufacturer, say, and you race as if you were part of that manufacturer's team. So, as I say, there will be weekly regional tournaments. The game is being designed quite cleverly so that it will balance people's skill level depending on age, region, class of cars, their driving ability as they've played, the training modes in the game. They will be ranked at a certain ability, and obviously they can improve that over time and move up through the ranks. So there's going to be a lot of competition out there, and then over the course of a year there will be further sort of stages to the tournament. And the idea is what it will ultimately culminate in is a live final where people from different regions around the globe will come together in a location and partake in a real live race, as we had in our press event in London in May, which was the inaugural FIA Gran Turismo Championships. And because there's this partnership with the FIA, which is the World Motorsport governing body, the whoever eventually goes on to win this live global final will actually be invited to the FIA Gala to receive an award for doing so. So they get to stand on stage alongside the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, whoever that may be. So it's really Polyphony are well placed to offer this, something none of our competitors are able to do because of the relationship they've built up with the FIA. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity for gamers to put themselves on the stage of world motorsport. And ultimately, Polyphony are very keen working with the FIA to encourage more people into real motorsport. So that's kind of the philosophy behind it all.
As you can see from behind me, it is a Lamborghini. That means we are talking Forza.
This time we've taken the Horizon Festival, which is this awesome celebration of music and cars and fun and freedom of the open road, and we took it to one of the largest, most beautiful, most geographically diverse places we know of, and that's Australia. It's twice as large and twice as diverse as the world of Horizon 2, which was set in Southern Europe. So we got the Outback, we've got Ormiston Gorge, we've got the deserts, we've got the beautiful, lush rainforest of Maroondah, I guess you call it, right, along the Black Spur Drive. I had no idea Australia had such incredible rainforest, but they do. Surfer's Paradise, we've got the gleaming skyscrapers of the Gold Coast, and we've got Whitehaven Beach and the 12 Apostles and Byron Bay and all these places. I'm sure the Australians know a lot much better than I do. I've been there twice, but I've never really got to explore the country. So I'm excited to get in these cars and explore that beautiful country.
What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you.
What are we going to be driving through this world?
Well, we got over 350 cars to choose from. Everything from this beautiful Lamborghini Centenario, you have to say it like that, Centenario, to new buggies and trophy trucks, which are the perfect vehicles to tackle the outback and the rainforest and driving through the surf. I mean, you can literally drive into the ocean if you want to, which is a fantasy a lot of us have, but we'd be afraid to rust out our cars, right? And of course, Aussie cars. I mean, Australians love their cars. Sadly, you're not making Utes anymore. I don't think they're making Falcons anymore. So we got all of that. We got it all covered. I can't promise every car that's ever been important to Australians is in there, but we sure tried. We sent guys way the heck out into the country to find one car, and we got it. And so you're going to see a lot of new cars. You're going to see a lot of old favorites, and it'll run the gamut. Any car you can hope for. We've got something we hope that you like.
If you've got a Hilux and a Falcon, you're laughing.
We got more Falcons than you can shake a stick at.
But the other thing then is obviously there's a big push in this one for connected multiplayer. Yep. How has that changed from the previous ones?
Well, a couple of huge things that are different now about Horizon 2 is that we always had seamless connected online play. You never stop driving. You drive, you say I want to accept an invite, you want to send an invite, and then the two of you are in the same world racing together. And that's something we've improved upon even more, and we've added 4-player campaign co-op for the first time. So it allows you and 3 of your friends to enjoy the depth, the variety, the fun, and all the rewards of a Horizon campaign, which is really epic. It can go hundreds of hours, but you can drop in and drop out at any time, and you can enjoy that together. So let's say I've been playing the game for 20 hours, and you've only been playing it for 4. You come into my festival, all the stuff that I've unlocked, you get to play with. And then when you go back to your festival, anything you did in my game is now unlocked and in your game, and it just carries over. And it also carries from Xbox One to PC because we're Xbox Play Anywhere title. So if you play in the game, if you buy the game digitally, you own it on both. So if you play on Xbox One, then later on you play it on your PC. Everything carries over, and you can play with your friends over Xbox Live, whether they're on Xbox One or PC. So that's pretty awesome.
That's very cool because Forza on PC, gorgeous.
Yep. Yeah. As you can see here, we got some running on the Xbox One S, which was just introduced, and that'll be running in HDR when it comes out. And then the simulator chair that some of these guys are riding, that's in 4K. That's pretty awesome. I mean, to see this game, it's already beautiful, but when you see it on a 78-inch monitor in 4K, it's just, it's really gorgeous.
One of the really important things with cars, as everybody knows as well, is customizing.
Oh yeah.
In Forza, you said before as well that you essentially own the festival.
Yep.
So you can customize cars and the festival in this one?
Yeah, so in addition to having so many cars, we're giving more options to players to customize those cars. A lot of our fans have been asking for a long time. We've been working out ways to streamline our production so we can add more off-road parts and rally parts to some classic cars that have been needing them. And we're really excited to introduce wide-body kits into Forza for the first time. So kits by Rocket Bunny and Liberty Walk. We got 30 new rim styles by new manufacturers. And a couple of them even designed custom rims. They're Forza rims for the game. You can customize your own vanity license plate. You can choose your own car horn. All these things are part of this overall concept called You're in Charge, which you really are. Previous Horizons, you were a rookie, hoping to become a champion. This time you're a returning champion whose job it is to make the Horizon Australia the biggest festival ever. And it's your job to, it's up to you to decide how to do that. So, and you can hire your friends to star in your festival to earn you more fans. And if they're not earning you fans, fire your friends and hire somebody else. Because, that's the kind of world it is, right? So yeah, you can customize your own gameplay through a feature called Horizon Blueprint. And what we've done is we've exposed to players a lot of the design tools that the designers at Playground use to make fun events. They make some incredibly fun events, a really great career that's curated and awesome and gives you a good breadth of cars. But at any point, you want to jump off that track and do something different. You want to change the cars, you want to change the time of day, you want to change the weather, you want to change the number of laps, you want to change the kind of people you're going to be racing. You have that power to tweak every race you want, every event you want. Do you want the festival to expand into Outback first, or do you want it to expand into Surfers Paradise? It's totally up to the player.
With you.
I heard there was one particular guy who came off saying it was the most difficult thing he'd ever played and it was too hard to be a real game. But I also heard there was a race car driver there and he said it was the most realistic thing he'd ever done outside of a racetrack. So that probably gives you the spectrum of the kind of people that are going to really, really love this game.
It's been available on PC for a while now, but Italian-developed racing sim Assetto Corsa has just hit consoles, and it brings a much-needed breath of fresh air to both Xbox One and PlayStation 4. If you love arcade racing, that subtle rubber banding that keeps you not too far from the front of the pack, that AI that's easily pushed past as you take the racing line, and those simple controls that put all the power right at your fingertips, Assetto Corsa is not for you.
The word that everybody seems to use is unforgiving. If you love race cars, if you love real race cars, real racing, this is the kind of game you're going to love. It's not the kind of game that you would have played in an arcade growing up. This is a game for people who are fanatical about cars, who know the difference in the suspension, the difference in the brake setups and stuff like that. It's a game for fanatics, made by fanatics.
Assetto Corsa is a proper, serious racing simulator. It's not just difficult to master, it's pretty challenging to pick up to start with. We spent some time with the game and struggled to get results much better than 7th place in a field of 10, and that's after more than a few races that saw us stuck at the back of the pack. But slowly, as we got more familiar with the car, the controls, and more importantly, the track, we started making better lap times and even pulling off a couple of overtaking manoeuvres. The attention to detail here is staggering. Not only does each car play differently, but there's a noticeable difference with driving the same car with different tyres. Make a subtle change to your vehicle and you'll see a significant change in your lap times.
Knoles are a really small team based on the Villalonga track in Rome. There's maybe less than 20 guys working there, and they're dedicated to making the most realistic reproduction of the greatest racetracks in the world. Knoles goes way back in developing race car software, so they're not just games makers. Games makers is almost a hobby. They're based in Villalonga because they actually are all about real race cars, real racetracks. The tracks in the game are all laser scanned, so the whole purpose of the simulation is to give the most accurate representation, and that's basically where the guys come from. They're not a big video games team, they're a very small race car team.
Assetto Corsa is split into 3 parts: Quick Drive, Career Mode, and what Knoles calls special events. Quick Drive is pretty much what you'd expect. Pick a car, pick a track, pick a time of day, and you're off. This can be a great way to try out different manufacturers, vehicles, and locations without making any serious commitment. But if you want commitment, then Career Mode is for you. You'll have to win a certain number of medals in order to progress through challenges in the novice, intermediate, and expert categories. It's incredibly satisfying, but the races and challenges can get a bit samey after a while, and it would be great if there was a little more variety. But then there's special events. This is the sort of thing where you're given a certain track and a certain car and you're asked to achieve a certain goal. These can get addictive, particularly for perfectionists.
At the moment, there are about 90 cars. Each car is customizable, but from launch we'll have 90 cars and further updates as time goes on.
The game blends the risks and rewards of real-world racing into one nifty package. This is a completely different breed to all the other motorsports games on the market. Racing in Assetto Corsa is perhaps the closest thing to real racing that we've found in a video game. But obviously, because real racing isn't performed with a DualShock controller, this one is much better if you're playing with a steering wheel setup. But even if you don't have one, you can still have great fun. And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Thanks for watching. Next week, we look at something a little bit different from Don't Nod, the studio behind Life is Strange. Their new one is called Vampire, and it's about a vampire doctor coming to terms with his undead condition. That, plus a celebration of 20 years of one of the greatest ladies in gaming, Lara Croft, and you're in for a treat. In the meantime, you can catch us at playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Also, if you want to support Player Attack, you can find us on Patreon and help us bring you the latest in gaming news, plus all these wonderful interviews and reviews from the world of video games. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.